Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
We have Craig Brown, CEO of ECR Minerals, which is an exploration and development company listed on AIM. Hi Craig, how are you?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me, Rob.
That's all right. I probably should have said good evening, as I understand you're in quarantine in Sydney at the moment. Do you think you can explain why you're there?
Yes, well, it was a bit of a late decision, but I've been trying to come to Australia since January this year, and ECR, or our subsidiary, Makeda Gold Australia, is a member of the Minerals Council of Australia. And it's Minerals Week next week in Canberra, the capital of Australia. So I got an invitation to attend the week, and as a result, I was able to get permission to come to Australia. And I'm coming for two reasons. One is to sort out, various issues and see the guys on the ground and how they're working and how things are going along, as well as attend this Minerals Week. And it's great. I've been here 10 days in quarantine. I'm almost going up the walls at the moment. I've got 4 days to go and they'll let me out. Stuck in a hotel room the whole time isn't much fun. I can't even open a window. They won't let you smoke. You can't go outside the room. It's a pretty difficult position. I mean, no room for exercise, nothing. So I don't recommend a 2-week quarantine to anyone if they can avoid it. But the upside is very good. I've been invited to a parliamentary dinner next week in Canberra, and it's been hosted by the Minerals Council and sponsored by Rio Tinto and various other large players. But the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, is the guest speaker, so it'll be quite interesting to have him speak. And of course, Australia is a very pro-mining country, very pro-mining oil and gas, so it'll be interesting to hear what he says about the future, but they certainly want to push forward with the development. I mean, Australia is doing very well. It's one of the few countries in the world that actually exports more to China than it imports from China. So, there has been a bit of conflict as far as trade wars are concerned at the moment. But if you look at most minerals, iron ore and coal and various other things, Australia is by far the largest producer, and it's pretty well up there, number 2 in the world as far as gold is concerned as well at the moment. So I think China's number 1 and Australia's number 2, and so the government's really supporting it, and it's great to be invited to a dinner with the Prime Minister next week. But coincidentally, the leader of the opposition party is having a lunch the next day at the Hyatt Hotel in Canberra. We'll all be going along to that as well to hear what the opposition have to say. But, so that's really, that's partly why I got the invitation to come. Secondly, and this is the main objective, we're currently carrying out quite a lot of operations down in Victoria. We are drilling both our Bailieston and our Creswick licenses. We have quite a solid team there and a shed, and we're putting out a lot of core. You'll see our videos of us drilling and core and etc. all over Twitter. And, I want to go and see operations and see how things are going. Because of COVID, I haven't been in Australia since February last year. I spent about 3 or 4 weeks here, just over 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, I think it was, in January, February last year. But it's great to be back in the country. And so I'll utilize my time as much as possible and, make sure that everything's running smoothly.
Well, hopefully the quarantine will be worth it then, but it sounds like you've got an interesting time ahead. You released an RNS yesterday on the 27th regarding 3 license applications. Do you think you can talk a bit more about that?
Yes. Well, we're always looking for new opportunities and diversifying risk, etc. And so you've got certain country risk between one country and another, whether you're investing in Nigeria or Canada or Australia or Russia or wherever you might be in the world, and but you've also got internal risk within countries, and we're mainly focused in Victoria. We've got 2 applications which were granted a long time ago. We've got 2 licenses, active licenses, and we're drilling on both of them at the moment, both in Bailieston and in Creswick. But then in addition, we have a total of 8 license applications, 7 of which have been accepted, and so I want to push those going through. But we've been looking around Australia at other license areas, and we did have a bit of a play in Western Australia, but we found that the rights of First Nations was particularly strong, and it was a lengthy and costly process to get anything done in Western Australia, whereas we found that Queensland is a lot more desirable. So we looked and studied the entire area. Adam Jones, our chief geologist, who's also, oh, sorry, he's not our chief geologist, he's our geologist on the board of directors. Our chief geologist is a Dr. Rodney Boucher. Adam is on the board of directors of both ECR Minerals and our subsidiary Makeda Gold Australia, and we've just incorporated a new subsidiary called Lux Exploration Limited. Adam had worked previously for about 5 years in Queensland, and he came across all of these samples of stream sediments in this area to the south of Charters Towers. Now, Charters Towers is approximately 3 hours inland from Townsville, which is in the northern part of Queensland. The northern part of Queensland is a world-class mining jurisdiction for gold in particular. I mean, the Charters Towers mine itself alone produced over 6.6 million ounces. So it's a very positive area to be working in. There's a substantial number of mines currently which have either been in the area directly around us, which have either been in production, they've been historically mined, or they're going into production now, and the total number of ounces is about 24 million ounces, which is more than the largest gold mine in the all of Europe. And that's just in a small section of the northern part of Queensland where we've applied for these 3 licenses. The licenses are on a first in, first served basis. So our licenses have already been accepted by the department. We've received confirmation of that. I incorporated the company Lux Exploration Pty Limited on the Australian Securities and Investment ASIC website on a Friday evening between 6 and 9 o'clock, and got the company incorporated, applied for the licenses through our tenements, decided which areas we wanted. These are the areas which our geologists said were extremely prospective, and so we've lodged the applications, and the total cost for lodging all 3 applications, which cover a total area of 900 square kilometres, we paid $2,500 in government fees for the application, so that was about $7,500. We've set up a website for Lux Exploration Pty Limited. We also have got some fees to the applicants. We've done a few maps, a bit of time, but well and truly less than 20,000 Australian dollars. And we're in an area with world-class gold deposits. So I'm very, very pleased with what we've got and what the potential holds. I mean, if you look on, we've got 2 figures up there, and if we look on figure 1, we've got to the north of us Kidston with 3.5 million ounces of gold. To the west, Mount Wright, greater than 1 million ounces of gold. Charters Towers, as I said, which has been largely mined out, 6.6 million ounces. Mount Laitian with 2.5 million ounces, and another Pajingo with 2.7 million ounces. In addition, there are several other licenses around the area which have been historically mined, but the total area is approximately 24 million ounces within a relatively close vicinity, within about 500 or 600 kilometres of where our license applications are. And as I said, we have 900 square kilometres which we've covered.
Well, I think I already answered the question I was going to ask you next, which is about why you'd chosen those locations specifically. How long do these permits take to get granted?
About 5.5 months. I was talking to the tenements manager yesterday, and they said that the first stage was to get the applications accepted, and they've been accepted. And then we had to get approval that the new company, which is Lux Exploration, has people of suitable experience to manage a mining company. And so there's 2 directors, myself and Adam Jones, on Lux Exploration, and we had to provide our CVs and references. And Adam's a member of the Australian Institute of Geoscientists, and they approved his qualifications. And so now we're going through environmental approvals, and so we've been approved as being a credible company with the right technical expertise. Now we're going through environmental approvals and to get the exploration permits, and then finally it's native title, which we've been told won't be a problem. But They said we're looking at about 5.5 to 6 months. If we look on figure 2 of the map, when you ask why did we actually choose this area, there was some work done here in the 70s and the 80s. And if we have a look, there's been quite a number of areas where gold has been found in the streams. And there's a full mountain range running across here called Lulworth. So it's actually through the middle. It's this Lulworth range, which is written on the blue on figure 2. If you have a look, there's a number of various red areas which show results of basically stream sediments, and these are pan stream sediments, so it shows that there's gold actually sitting in the river, and the grades were coming out at I think it was sieve stream sediments, to be honest, and we were getting like 1.3 grams per ton, 11 grams per ton, 35 grams per ton, 235.2 grams per ton, 81.9 grams per ton, 69.7 grams per ton.
Good historic data then that you've got there.
Correct, but this is all sitting on a geological database which is managed by the government of Queensland. So, this is actual reports which have been submitted and approved by the government. And apart from gold, we also have an anomalous tin sediments in the area. So our objective is to go through this work, follow it up, and try and find the source of all this gold. Because if there's alluvial gold or there's gold sitting in stream sediments, it means there must be a source of it coming from that Lulworth mountain range. So one of the first things we want to do is do a geochemical sampling or soil sampling exercise, try and pin down where it's coming from. There's a number of targets and outcrops which are visible. There's something like hundreds of gigabytes of reports which we can go through and read of previous airborne geophysics and work which has been done in the area, but nobody's held a license over this area for a very long time, and certainly not spent any money on it. There's no direct roads in there, but there is a Flinders Highway, which you can see from the map, which is approximately, less than probably about 130 kilometres away. Well, our geologists will drive along that highway and we'll find a place to pull off. There's a place called Brilliant Bumby. I'm sure we can get pretty close to the tenements. And then we'll be using off-road four-wheel drive bikes to actually go around the properties. It's a deserty type terrain, fairly open, and we can take samples. So we'll be taking samples over large areas. We'll have an XRF with us, which will give us an immediate test for certain gold-associated minerals. But from there, we can try and define exactly, what we're looking at and where. But as you can see from the figure number 2, we actually have areas where we've got targets already in sight.
Yeah, you got a starter for 10, which is good.
Yeah.
One of the questions, obviously, that shareholders always like to know is how is the funding going at the moment, especially with these new applications?
Well, we did a fundraising recently, which had mixed reception in the market, but we raised $2 million through Novum Securities. In total, we have £5.6 million in the bank at the moment, so I think we're in a pretty healthy position and absolutely no debt. And we're drilling at the moment, like I say, down in Victoria. These applications have cost us a total of about $20,000. I believe that these licenses, once they're granted, will be worth at least $2 million, if not more. So, if we were to sell them on, but my objective is not to sell them on. I want to put this mine into production. I've been involved in I've worked for 3 mining companies in my life, and every single one has put a mine into production, and I want to do the same thing with ECR. And whether it's in Victoria or whether it's in Queensland or Western Australia or another jurisdiction altogether, we want to get a license into production. We've looked at, we get proposals all the time, probably 5 or 6 companies a week offering us licenses, and some of them are very small, like 10 square kilometres or 7 square kilometres in parts of Canada, Ontario, British Columbia, and they're talking $350,000 for a license, and it's 10 square kilometres. I mean, this is 900 square kilometres, which we're applying for ourselves. Our total cost is $20,000 to date. It might cost us $50,000 by the time everything's sorted out. But Australian dollars I'm talking about, not US dollars. So that's about £30,000, and yet we'll have an asset which is worth several £1 million on our balance sheet, or which we could potentially realise for several £1 million. So these are the opportunities that we're looking at. But in my opinion, I'd like to actually develop this project ourselves and do the work, and let's make a big new discovery.
Well, I think if you want to keep that track record going again, then yeah, definitely sounds like a good idea. Do you think you can give us an update on the team in Victoria?
Yes, well, everybody's expecting brilliant results overnight, but not every hole's a winner, and we're not playing slot machines. I mean, we have got a balanced approach and a very technical approach, and we've got a very qualified technical team on the ground. I mean, we've got 3 geologists working for us. We've got about 4 fieldies. We've got our own drill rigs, a couple of drillers, a couple of drill assistants, and a contract driller at the moment. And we completed our first hole at Creswick, which is about 300 metres deep. We're on our second hole at the moment, and by the looks of things, our geologists are saying that the core is looking very good, and they've been doing all the logging of the core and taking the photos, etc. And so we've got quite a lot of information there. And then across at in Bailieston, we did some diamond drill work back in 2018, and we made a new discovery which was called Blue Moon. And then we followed that up in 2019 with an RC drill program. And we have done some RC drilling back where we are in Bailieston in this HR3 area back in 2017, but we got mixed results. So now we've gone on with diamond drills to understand the structure. We drilled 8 holes at HR3, 4 of which we've got the results back and have been reported, and hopefully the next 4 will be reported very soon. It's we do have not just delays in the laboratory, but we are waiting on the rest of those results, but also delays on our geologists being able to process all the data, because we're just flat out with 2 drill rigs working in all the core. That we're drilling 7 days a week at the moment, whereas our core shed normally only works 5 days a week, and 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day. So or 10 hours a day approximately. So now we're also out there. We've moved out of HR3, and we're drilling our first hole at Cherry Tree, and I think we're about 180 metres down the hole. That's almost complete, and we're ready to start a new hole on either tomorrow afternoon or Sunday. So we do have some positive soil sediment samples which have come back, but we've got to get them mapped up and announced. So we should have some drilling work, some results to announce there. But things are very positive at the moment, and we're going for it. We were approached by one of the companies who we'd been in discussions with regarding doing a joint venture at Creswick, and they were contacting us today saying, are we still interested? Are we still interested? And we're saying, well, we've already started drilling out the license. They were waiting for us to get all 3 licenses at Creswick approved, and we'd only had 1. And I said, well, we've already started doing the license, so if you're interested in doing a deal with us, the price has gone up a lot from what it was a year ago. So let's see how things keep going. But now we're doing this drilling program. Let's see what the results come back at, and how things move on from there. But certainly there's still a lot of action going on in Victoria, and I'm very positive of the progress we're making.
And I bet you're itching to get out your room and out of quarantine so you can meet everyone.
4 days left here, and then I've got to go across to Canberra. I've got to spend 1 more night in Sydney, because unfortunately when I get out of the hotel I haven't got time to catch the last flight to Canberra. It's only 300 kilometres or 3 hours to drive or something, but I can't really be bothered driving a car over here, because the issue is you might hit a kangaroo at night on the road, and it kind of messes up the rental car a bit. So I'm not particularly keen on driving at night, and also it's a new territory for me to drive in. So I'm probably going to I'll wait till the next day and then travel across. And then there currently is also a lockdown in Victoria at the moment, which only was announced yesterday and started last night. And it's for 1 week, and it's just because I think they've got a total of something like 20 cases or 19 cases of COVID. It's nothing. I mean, here's us in the UK getting 15,000 a day, and in the entire last year since COVID began, they only had 20,000 cases in all of Victoria. And we were having 1,000 deaths a day or more. That they're not. They certainly haven't had the death rates or anything like what we've had in the UK, which is very positive. But the interesting information is that in the minerals industry, which includes mining and geological exploration, is considered an essential business for Australia. So we have green paths that we can work the whole time, and we can travel where we want. We can do whatever we want. So even if there are lockdowns in Australia, they don't affect the mining industry and they don't affect our operations.
No, and that's good to hear that you can actually still get things going on. You can keep progressing during these difficult times. Craig, thanks for your update, and I'm sure you'll have plenty to tell us once you've got out your hotel further down the line.
Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you again soon, Rob. Have a nice day.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.